Let this end now.
Never!
This was a lie, and guess what? So was this.
You know, you're just jealous that you could never measure up to a great ruler like Lord Farquad.
Yep, that's right. Dreamworks has been lying to us since we were kids. What are the biggest lies they have forced us to grow up with? Well, we got 5 of them, with level 1 being one that was a bit obvious, while level 5 will have you in tears. And we got a mystery lie about a franchise that Dreamworks tried burying. Stick around to find out what it is. The first lie is about Farquads' origin. We all love a good Shrek movie, and nobody knows this better than Dreamworks. That's why they want to give us a 5th one. But let's talk about the first time this mean green swamp lover made it to our screens. We were met with a rude and annoying leader whose temper was shorter than his real height.
I am Lord Farquad.
The thing about Shrek was that it had us going like this every time we saw a fairy tale character we recognized. But for some reason, nobody seemed to recognize the King of Duloc.
Is this not the most perfect kingdom of them all?
Well, technically you're not a king.
At least for some characters, you could tell they were parodies of their real folklore characters.
You can't catch me. I'm the gingerbread man!
You're a monster!
But a short coward of a king with an impressive jawline didn't seem to ring a bell. That's because he was completely made up for the movie. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. You see, when Jeffrey Katzenberg left Disney to start Dreamworks, he had some ops, and his way of settling the score was basing this Dreamworks villain on his former boss. Yep, that's where the jawline comes from. And making him short was supposed to be a dig at Disney. The second lie is about the dragons from How to Train Your Dragon. Well, specifically about their abilities.
Okay there, bud. We're gonna take this nice and slow.
Ah yes, the movie where dogs aren't man's best friend, but dragons are. The norm is that dragons are regarded as these scary creatures that only the bravest of souls can fight, let alone tame. But this movie turned that belief on its head.
No wonder you get along so well.
This movie has more species of one animal than your local animal shelter. There's literally a dragon for everybody. But here's what you might not know. Before we got Hiccup on the big screen, we had him in the books. That's right, one of Dreamworks' most recognizable franchises was inspired by a book by Cressida Cowell. And boy, did Dreamworks do a lot of tweaking for the movie. Firstly, this is how Toothless looked in the novels. But that changes nothing when you learn that in the book, the dragons could actually talk. Dreamworks took this from us.
Or lava spews from the earth. It's the dragons, letting us know they're still here.
Now you have to read the books to relive a different type of magic in the world of Toothless and Hiccup. Lie number 3. What animal really is shifu? The fun part about watching a movie where the characters are animals is that you easily recognize them.
Monkey, mantis, crane, viper, tigress.
But for some reason, Master Shifu from Kung Fu Panda had us scratching our heads. Is he a rodent? A bear? Since this movie is set in China, we obviously won't see animals like kangaroos or lions, but what the heck is this old master supposed to be?
Are you kidding me? Not again.
With that tail, we all assumed he was like a lemur or even a rare breed of possum, a distant cousin of King Julian from the east, if you will. But when this franchise became very popular, the elephant, or should I say the panda in the room, needed to be addressed. That's right, Master Shifu is supposed to be a panda. Oh no, not the black and white huggable creatures we know. He's actually a red panda. They are small and they have white fur with a vibrant red-orange tone. It's hard to see the resemblance, but I guess age and Kung Fu can make you look different. I'm starting to have a feeling they didn't know what animal to make Shifu, so they just googled the closest looking animal to him and ran with it. Something smells fishy, and it's the diet of one of our favorite characters from Shark Tales. As kids, we did let our imaginations run wild. That's why we never had a problem with movies where animals could talk. But I'm surprised we didn't bat an eye at a shark that was supposedly a vegetarian.
I'm a vegetarian.
Apparently, Lenny from Shark Tales wasn't a fish-eating beast like the rest of his brethren, and this made the other sharks see him like he was less of one.
Look at him.
But a vegetarian shark? Really? What's next? They're gonna be having fish walk on land? But hold on a second. Is a grass-eating shark even possible? Or did Dreamworks take advantage of the fact that we were kids? Most of the sharks here are great white sharks. They choke on algae and kelp, but not the bonnethead shark. These creatures are omnivores. Yep, sharks now have a buffet which includes vegetables. But despite this, these sharks can't survive exclusively on grass. They still need meat. So Lenny would still need to turn some of his fish friends into lunch if he doesn't want an early grave.
Look, I'm just pretending so you can get away. Now, when I turn around, you take off.
So yeah, Dreamworks got us with that one. Ain't no shark refusing to eat a couple of fish just because they feel shy or insecure. Now on to line number 5. Dreamworks went so far away from the source material for this character, you won't recognize him from his fairy tale. If there's one character we really loved from the Shrek movie and his own, it's this feline fellow.
Fear me, if you dare. Hey look, a little cat.
Puss on Boots was so beloved that they had to give him his own movie and a sequel. But we need to have a serious talk about the orange tabby who gaslit an entire generation. Dreamworks' Puss in Boots is essentially what happens when you give a house cat a shot of espresso, a Zorro mask, and the vocal cords of Antonio Banderas.
On my honor, I am obliged to accompany you until I have saved your life.
We grew up believing Puss was this legendary, swashbuckling outlaw, a tragic orphan from San Ricardo who lived by the blade and looked devastatingly good in leather footwear. But if you look at the original 1697 French folklore by Charles Perrault, the fierce swordsman narrative starts to crumble faster than a stale biscuit. In the actual fairy tale, Puss isn't some noble foundling or a professional bounty hunter. He is, quite literally, the world's most disappointing inheritance. The story begins with a miller dying and leaving his 3 sons his assets. The first son gets the mill, the second gets a mule, and the third son, our hero, gets a cat. Imagine your father passing away and leaving your brothers a thriving business and a vehicle while you just get a pet that sheds on your furniture. I'd be calling my lawyer immediately. But the folklore version of Puss doesn't win his battles with a rapier or cool acrobatics. He wins through industrial-grade gaslighting. There are no epic sword fights here. He just spends the entire story running ahead of his master's carriage, threatening local peasants into telling the king that all the land belongs to the Marquis of Carabas, a title he totally made up on the spot. He basically bullied a bunch of innocent farmers into lying so his owner could catfish his way into a royal marriage. No sword, no honor, just a furry con artist in boots. We weren't sold a hero, we were sold a medieval hustle. I guess professional liar in boots didn't have the same ring to it, so Dreamworks really did a 180 on his character. Talk about a glow up. Speaking of made up things, you know what else is? Our mystery lie. I gotta warn you, you might start hating on Dreamworks when you learn this truth. We all remember the emotional roller coaster of watching Princess Fiona transform at sunset. Dreamworks really had us out here thinking we were watching a Beauty and the Beast remix where the goal was to break a tragic curse and get the pretty girl back.
But I don't understand. I'm supposed to be beautiful.
We spent the whole movie waiting for that true love's kiss to fix her problem. But hold on to your onions, because the version of Fiona we saw on screen was a total fabrication. In the original 1990 book Shrek by William Steig, there was no sunset transformation. There was no secret human form. And there definitely wasn't a curse that made her look like a supermodel for 12 hours a day. In the actual folklore origin, Fiona was just an ogre. Born green, stayed green, and loved every second of it. Steig describes her as being so repulsive that she could knock a cactus unconscious just by looking at it. She didn't have a hidden beauty to find. She was already her true self, which just happened to involve breathing fire and being spectacularly hideous. When Shrek rescues her in the book, it's not some grand romantic misunderstanding about her looks. They meet, they realize they are both nightmare-inducing monsters, and they fall in love instantly because they finally found someone who is just as gross as they are. Dreamworks basically prettied up the story because they didn't think we could handle a leading lady who was a 100% monster from start to finish. They gave her that human daylight form just to keep the stakes high, but the original Fiona would have probably laughed in the face of a magic spell. She wasn't a victim of a curse, she was just living her best swamp life. So yeah, the human Fiona is a total myth. We weren't waiting for her to be saved, we were just being sold a safe version of a girl who was always meant to be a fire-breathing ogre. There you have it. Which lie did you find hard to believe? And which studio would you want us to expose next? Let us know in the comments section. And while you're at it, do check out our other videos as well.